Am I the a-hole for telling my mom her husband is just the guy she cheated on my dad with? My parents divorced when I, 27 female, was 10 because my mom had an affair. How do I know? Because her affair partner turned husband was also married, and his wife at the time showed up at our house after the affair came out on both sides and yelled it all over the place. She had to be removed by the cops, and she showed up a few more times over the next 2 years. My mom blamed my dad for me finding out when I was 14, and I told her I wasn't deaf and could hear that woman outside our house, and I wasn't too young to understand what it meant. My relationship with my mom was strained by her affair, and I don't care about her husband. He never had kids and tried to play the dad role, but I shut him out and put him in his place whenever he tried, by reminding him I have a dad and he doesn't get to take me from dad like he took mom. And yes, I know nobody can take another person. It was my mom's choice and her fault too. But still, it felt extra insulting to try and play parent when he helped destroy my family and dad's marriage to mom. My dad died when I was 19. It was a very tense time in my relationship with my mom because I didn't tell her. She found out after dad's funeral. A part of me was glad because I did not want her to come to the funeral, and I certainly didn't want her there with her husband. My mom was hurt and acted like I owed it to her to let them come so they could be there for me. I told her their support was not wanted right then, especially not for losing dad. Even still, she believed that her husband would become the father figure I no longer had with dad gone, and they both expected he would be given father of the bride honors at my wedding. Instead, I asked my grandpa, and mom blew a fuse when she found out. She asked me what the heck I was thinking, and said her husband has been there, raising me since I was 10, and he is more to me than just some random guy. I told her she was partly right. He's just the guy she cheated on my dad with, nothing more. My mom said it was a childish and vindictive way to describe him, and that I need to get the heck over it and appreciate how hard he tried with me. She said it's like I'm trying to punish them for the affair when it was nothing to do with me. I told her this isn't a punishment, this is consequences, and she has to live with them, same way he does. She's still going crazy about me saying that, and I don't feel bad, but I question if maybe I was a bit of an a-hole for telling her that. Maybe? Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. It sucks people are bad guys unless they stay in a loveless marriage. I wish kids could understand that. The kids always want their parents to stay together, no matter if there's love or not. The way people go about it sometimes is wrong, but parents deserve to live in happiness as well. And if it's with another person, kids need to be a little more understanding. I think it's selfish for kids to want their parents to stay together, even if they are miserable. Why does no one on his sub ever say that? The kids don't run their parents' lives. In this situation, they shouldn't have cheated. They should have left their current partner first. It's not always black and white, but kids shouldn't get a free pass to be a prick to someone who is only there because they love one of their parents. That's not fair, and it's not fair for two people to stay together because a child wants you to. I never asked my mom to stay with my dad, just to do a way better job of ending the marriage, because when you have minor kids, you mess up their lives when you cheat. And let me ask you a question. Did your mom's husband respect you? Try to do things right? Treat you right? He tried to. I never entertained any of it. Why do all cheaters complain about being punished? I agree that it's mostly natural consequences they face, but even if they were being punished, they have zero right to complain about it. They deserve some punishment. Punish away, not the a-hole. I honestly think they see themselves as the victims of what happened. Just like so many make excuses of, I wasn't happy, or I made a mistake, or it wasn't meant to happen that way, but it accidentally did. Yeah, you don't accidentally cheat. My ex-husband and I always said divorce before cheating. So, when I realized I wasn't happy, he wasn't willing to change, and that I had a crush on someone else, I thought long and hard about if I was willing to divorce even if things didn't work out with the person I was interested in. I had every chance to cheat if I wanted to. That would have been the easy choice. But I broke things off with my husband and it freaking sucked. It hurt so much, but cheating would have hurt way more. Now we're both in long-term relationships with people who fit us much better. Moral of the story? Cheating is for cowards and politicians. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my dad's girlfriend wedding dress shopping with me and my sisters? My mom died 5.5 years ago, and my dad started dating again 3.5 years ago. His girlfriend, Cheryl, seems okay. I, 24 female, haven't spent much time with her to really know her well, but my sisters, 17 and 19, live with her now. Technically, just over the summers for my middle sister. So my dad told me it would be good to invite Cheryl to join us wedding dress shopping. I'm engaged, and make her feel like part of the family. Cheryl had already mentioned how much she'd love to join us. My dad just took it over from there. I didn't really want her there, and I told my dad I'd rather just keep it just me and my sisters. At first he took it okay, and I thought that would be the end of it. But on the day of, Cheryl got ready to go anyway, and when I went to pick up my sisters, she told me that even though we wanted a sister's day, she wanted to treat us afterward and thought she'd come anyway. My dad wasn't home, so it was me telling Cheryl that I still just wanted to do this with my sisters and me. She told me she could be quiet and I'd hardly know she was there, and I told her that my answer was still no. Apparently, she was crying about it when my dad got home, and he was angry at me for not giving in when she was ready and everything. The two of us got into a fight. My dad told me a bunch of times that he thought it was petty and mean to exclude her, and how she's in our lives now and he wants to marry her. He asked me what the harm would be, and why wouldn't I take the chance to include her in something special. I told him Mom should be doing this with us, and having Cheryl there would just make it worse that Mom isn't here. I told him that it wasn't me trying to make him not date her or anyone, but that I would find it hard to include someone he's with in something Mom should be there for, like dress shopping. He told me he understood my emotions, but to also think of how weird this would be for Cheryl, and how I don't make the effort to spend time with her already, and then won't include her in something fun, even when she offered to treat us afterward. Then he said, I'm too old to be holding on to the hurt at the cost of someone else's feelings. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Just curious about how your sisters feel about everything. It doesn't change dad or girlfriend overstepping. Just curious how they are handling it. They struggle with it. I know my middle sister debated not going back this summer, but she couldn't afford to live anywhere else. They're not too fond of Cheryl either. I know they were hoping I would keep it just us. You're 24. Is he paying for anything? If not, ignore him. You don't have to babysit his girlfriend. You don't even have to invite her to the wedding. Next, she will want to come to your shower and the night. Shut this down now. He's not paying for a thing. Is Cheryl 20 years old? If she is the appropriate age for your dad, late 40s or up, then why is she acting like a child? No, she's in her late 40s. Not the a-hole. Your dad's girlfriend is too old for this nonsense. Dad is too old for this nonsense. What dog does he even have in this fight? His hot dog is in the fight. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not caring that my siblings, grandparents, and I upset Mom by taking all of Dad's things when her husband moved in? My dad died 7 years ago. I, 17 male, was 10, and my sisters were 17 and 18. 5 years ago, my mom moved in her now husband. When she told us he was moving in, our grandparents, Dad's parents, asked her what would happen with all of Dad's things. She said she wanted to donate them or something. My grandparents said we'd take what we wanted. So my grandparents and sisters came over, and Mom didn't want anything, so we divided it up between all of us. My grandparents took the things I chose to their house to keep watch over them for me. My sisters didn't have the space where they were living for more than what they took. My mom had no actual problem with it at the time, it looked like. But after her husband moved in, they talked about my dad's watch and he seemed disappointed it was gone. They didn't say it to me, but I still heard them. My mom ended up marrying her husband. My sisters and I aren't close to him. She wanted me to be more than them because I'm the youngest and still live at home. But he's her husband, and he's not someone I see as a father figure or my parent, and mostly he doesn't try to be. My mom gave birth to my 2 half-siblings in the last 2 years, and that changed things. She'd get upset that Dad's stuff wasn't around anymore, and recently she asked my grandparents to let her take Dad's stuff back. They told her she had freely let them take it all and they weren't about to see everything Dad owned go to Goodwill. My mom asked me to let her take the box I had, or some of it. She said she never should have let it all go, and there were things she wanted to give her husband and younger kids. She said Dad's watch would have been perfect for her husband, and Dad's old blanket collection would have been great to share with the babies. I told her the watch was for Dad, from me and my siblings, and it would be wrong as heck for her new husband to wear it. She told me it would be a sweet idea to show him acceptance, and I told her he'll never be my dad and will never get that kind of acceptance from me. I told her I accept him in other ways, but he's not my replacement dad or filling his shoes. And I said the blankets should stay being used for Dad's future grandkids and stuff, not kids he has no relationship with. She mentioned a few other things of Dad's and got more and more upset about them not being here to give to the babies or use for the babies. Then she said we were all so cruel for taking everything when her husband was moving in. She said we didn't even give him a chance to be trusted, and it hurt her to know we'd rather hide away possessions like that than share them. She told me we really hurt her feelings when we did it. I asked her why she didn't pick things to keep, and she told me it wasn't hurtful at the time, but now keeping them makes it seem like we're two families instead of one. I told her we sorta are, that her younger kids will never know Dad and aren't his kids, and will never be her husband's kids either. She said she didn't like it, and we were like vultures. Since then, she's been irritable around me, and she told me I should care about hurting her feelings, and that I should care that her husband was disappointed and felt like we all hated him before giving him a chance by taking the watch, and that the babies will grow up and feel bad that we wouldn't share things with them. Then she brought it back to her feeling hurt and how I should care. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Tell your mother to get therapy for whatever crisis she seems to be going through, and leave you out of it as you are not her emotional dumpster, nor are you qualified to help her. Not the a-hole. I like this response. It's short and to the point. Even OP debating this with his mom is wrong. As a mother, she should be handling her own emotional state. Is it a good watch? Yeah, her husband just wants a free watch. If they want something to remember your dad, give them a copy of a photo. It's not like super fancy or anything, but it is a nice watch and had my dad's name on it. I think he wanted the watch, and they want stuff for my half-siblings too. It's weird though, wanting to use Dad's stuff like that. It's almost like they are trying to create new memories and associations with your dad's stuff, effectively replacing the original ones. It would no longer be your dad's stuff. If she's had 2 babies in the last 2 years, she could be struggling with PPD, but she wouldn't even have an option if she had donated them, as she intended to originally. Either way, it's very off behavior by your mom. Not the a-hole. Right, my grandparents said that too. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister it isn't my fault that I planned my life and she didn't? I am 30 female and recently gave birth to my son. My husband, 30 male, and I met in college, dated, and got into the same job field at the age of 22. We got married at 25 and decided to wait for a kid, as we loved to party and travel. We bought our house, traveled internationally, and finally now focused on building our family. We want our baby to have a stable family life and no more late nights out. No regrets. We lived our 20s fully. My sister, 38 female, ran away with a jobless man, 40 male, when she was 21. My parents weren't in favor of this relationship, as he was a known drunkard. But she didn't listen. She left her MBA midway and got married, had her daughter at 22. She lives with my parents, as her in-laws kicked her out with her husband just 6 months into the marriage, as both were lazy and contributed nothing to the family. She has exploited my parents to the core, but my parents refuse to change, and I can help the blind only up to a limit. They won't accept it, but they have a soft spot for her, as they lost their first child when he was 2 months old, and she was the precious child afterwards. I have already told my parents to give my house share to my niece, 16 female, who is good at studies and a sensitive kid. My parents and I have raised her. She is like a daughter to me. I don't need the house. My parents have good pensions, and I have a savings account for my niece too. My sister and her husband barely live paycheck to paycheck. She has a decent job, but she has multiple expenses, like going to the parlor once a week, and her useless husband wastes all of his money on drinks. My niece isn't close to her parents, as they didn't raise her at all, just appearances. They openly cheat on each other but refuse to divorce, as they know they can't get better. Recently, she kept making bitter remarks about my perfect life, how my husband does lots of PDA, he is too romantic openly, which makes me blush and embarrassed, how I post my duplex house pics on Instagram, and how I'm going to spoil my son. I had enough and told her it was my life choices, and she made her own. I told her that her daughter dislikes her because she's a failure of a mother, a failure of a sister, and a failure of a daughter. I told her and her husband how they caused a loss of nearly $100,000 to our parents because they took money from loan sharks and our parents had to sell land to save them. I told her to stop being jealous and focus on being better. She's nearly 40 and still acts like she's in college. She started screaming and crying. I left. Now my parents messaged me to not be harsh on her, as she keeps screaming at them. I told them it was their decision to house her, and they have to develop a spine. Although I understand their codependency on each other, as they are aging and she does chores for them, I have given them the option to live with me as they age. My husband and I have decided to take care of each other's parents in old age. My sister made a social media post saying that some women become airheaded and arrogant when they have some money. I wasn't boasting about this at all. We got the same opportunities to study. We were given the same life. I chose what was best for me. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. She made her choices, you made yours. As others have said, and as you are aware, your parents are here enablers, and that won't change. I hate to say it though, but I would rethink letting your parents move in with you, as they will either give the house to your sister and she will burn through it, leaving your niece with nothing, or your parents will push and push to move your sister into your home too. You're doing well with the boundaries you have, but you may need to reassess then and reinforcing them harder, especially as your parents get older. No, they can't force me to keep her, and she won't sell, as they are moving it to a trust in her as well as niece's name, so no one will able to sell it. Not the a-hole. You made responsible life choices and shouldn't have to apologize for that. She needs to learn accountability for her actions. She's 40 plus. If she hasn't learned accountability by now, and she hasn't, she'll never learn it.